Good evening and welcome to another Sunday evening edition of Sports 101. This is the show that has become the reference point of anything sports in the Western region. And as always, we do this with you guys on Sundays. What we do on Sundays is that we take a review of all the major sporting activities that have happened in the course of the week. And tonight we are here to do the review of the major sporting activities that have happened in the course of the week. I'm sure that most of you know that the top European leagues are rounding up. There's a bit of play of basketball, few bumps and surprises in there, and we'll be building up towards the Roland Garros. The French Open, as the lay people would ordinarily call it. And so tonight, just brace yourself for another wonderful edition. This is Sports 101, as always, transmitting live on YouTube. Join the fun on YouTube, join the action where you can comment, you can like all of our videos, you can share the videos, and obviously if you're listening to us or watching us from the West, we expect you to be dropping in the super stickers. Drop the super stickers. And then we are partnering with Tadi 99.1 FM. So as we stream live on YouTube, we are also streaming live on radio on Tadi 99.1 FM. Tonight, I would want us to begin the conversation with all of the major things that have happened in the major European leagues across the world, and some few surprises in there. Obviously, we'll take a look at what is happening in England. We'll take a look at what's happening in Germany. We'll take a look at what's happening in France. We will take a look at what is happening in Spain, and then we will drop off in Italy. We'll take also some very important stories from some of the major European highlights over the course of the week. Lucky, good evening.
You see the way I'm looking at you. Good evening.
Just before we walked into the studio, I had an interesting conversation on WhatsApp and Manchester United. Well, a couple of people over there, and Manchester United were losing their game. People feel that Manchester United are going to lose the grip on the top four.
It's becoming exciting,
It's becoming exciting. I think that for 2 weeks, it's been a dead rubber, and it was almost a given that Manchester United were going to be in the top four. I still think, even before we delve deep into the discussion, I still think that this amounts to drama. Nothing will change. I think that the top four was decided a long time ago, especially in England. And yes, there are lots of actions also in Italy where you have Inter Milan and AC Milan just led from
United losing.
No, if you're watching us and you are listening to us, the United's game is still ongoing. United are losing by a goal to 0 at this material time. A super howler from David De Gea. But
the Arsenal you were lambasting, and Arsenal, Newcastle beat Arsenal. You see the ease with which they dispatch Newcastle.
I don't know what you call ease.
No, you see the ease with which
we will delve into all of the. We will delve into all of the.
I'm not losing hope. I still believe that I'm keeping my head.
Well, that's fine. You do not need to lose hope. I think that I don't know how many times I need to repeat myself. I don't want to sound a broken record, but the league is done. Forget about everything else. Just yesterday, yes, we'll talk about the league. So we'll quickly look at some of the results that have happened in the course of over the course of the weekend, if I should put it that way. We will look at the results that trickled in from the Italian Serie A today. I want us to begin with the Serie A, and we'll look at the results that have been trickling in from the Serie A this particular weekend. And if you look at the Serie A, this afternoon Atalanta played against Juventus, and there's something funny happening with Juventus. Since they were giving their 15 points, but even before they were giving the 15 points, Juventus seemingly were on the rise. And I think that if you look at Juventus and the results they've been able to chalk, it's been nothing short of impressive. Went to Atlanta, beat Atlanta by 2-0. Then Torino also had to play against Monza. Torino and Monza jostling for spaces in the mid-table, and then Napoli also had to play against Fiorentina. Courtesy Victor Osimhen, they had to get a goal over there. They had to get a goal and win over. As we talk now, Lecce are playing against Verona, and so quickly we'll get you some of the other results. We'll get you more of the results from the Italian Serie A. But what do you make of the whole Serie A? And especially, I would want us to put the focus on the top four qualification. Obviously, we all know that in the coming week there will be Champions League between the semi-final first leg between Inter Milan and AC Milan, and I think that the dynamics are playing out beautifully in the Italian Serie A. If you look on the league table, Napoli, yes, as you know, have already won the league with 83 points, a plus goal difference of 47. Juventus have 66 points, second position. It looks like that is almost
it's
not done. It's not done. Lazio also have played 34 games, have 64 points. Inter Milan have played 34 games, have 63 points, and the AC Milan have also played 34 games, actually have 61 points. So AC Milan are 2 points adrift of Inter Milan, who are occupying the fourth spot on the league. What do you make of all of these dynamics, and why do you think that we are seeing what we are seeing? I mean,
I think that, well, good evening to our listeners, and if you've not subscribed, this is Sports 101. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And like Kofi said, the super stickers are important. Kofi, I think that if you look at the Italian Serie A, this season has been an interesting season, and prior to Juventus being that the 15 point, and they going to the Court of Appeal, and the court in Turin and in Italy realizing that, okay, based on the information they have, the Juventus are not guilty of the crime, and that the point should be given back to them. The point, when they got their point back, prior to that, Juventus had played 6 games unbeaten. And so I do not know if they had prior information that they were definitely going to win those 15 points, but it's made the league very, very interesting. And if you look at the league table, Kofi, even Juventus, who lies second, are not safe, because AC Milan, who is fifth on the league table, are just 5 points adrift of second place.
With four games to go.
And there are 4 games to go, meaning there are 12 points to amass. So even from the 7th position, AS Roma lies 7th on the league table with 58 points. From the 7th position, if AS Roma win all their games, AS Roma would make the top 4 position. So from the 7th position right down to the 2nd position, every single team, so Juventus, Lazio, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Atalanta, and Roma, all have a shot at the top 4. It makes the Italian Serie A more interesting. Over the years, it's been a bit of a sleeping giant. I choose my words carefully, because sleeping giant, we know that Italian Serie A has produced some of the best players in the world. And 10 years ago, when we talk about European royalty in terms of leagues, the Italian Serie A was one of those leagues that you mentioned. But I think that for some time now, they've been bedeviled with racism and financial issues, and so most of the big clubs have declined. AC Milan, Inter Milan, but Juventus have always tried to keep the flag running for Italy in terms of their representation in the Champions League. But it's really, really, really getting interesting. I am excited about what Massimiliano Allegri has done with Juventus. At the start of the season, they were really struggling. Yes. They were struggling. Even when somewhere around December, Juventus were lying somewhere on line 12 on the league table. They were really, really struggling.
He was on the verge of being sacked.
He was on the verge of being sacked.
But there again, there arises that whole school of thought. I mean, people have spoken about Allegri. People have spoken about his previous stint with the club. Yeah. People have spoken about the fact that, yes, previously he won a lot of league trophies with the club, but there was that one barometer that he failed to deliver. Was delivering in the Champions League. So if Juventus ordinarily, I mean, when Juventus were dominating the league, when Juventus were almost making the Italian Serie A monopolizing the league, and people thought that, okay, hello, like City are trying to do. Why don't you extend that dominance into Europe? But then again, I mean, that's one side of the conspiracy theory. That's one side of the people who have stuff against Allegri. And then the other theory has to be that if you look at the Juventus squad, if you look at the payroll, if you look at the players on their books, Juventus should not be content placing second. And for me, what do you think has accounted for Napoli being head about shoulders about everything? Because last week we started an interesting discourse where you mentioned the fact that when the league begins, everybody has a target. When the league begins, everybody almost wants to shuffle the spaces and put themselves into a particular position where they get to make a strong push towards the final home stretch of the league season. But you look at Napoli, you look at the team that Spalletti has been able to build. You juxtapose that squad with the Juventus squad, and then you juxtapose that squad also with the AC Milan team. AC Milan, let's not forget, are defending champions, and so a lot was expected of them. That, I mean, at least mount a credible defense to the league title. What do you think has accounted for Napoli being head about shoulders almost in terms of quality? But I can tell you for a certainty that I think that probably if you take away the Napoli first 11, Juventus have a solid squad. Why do you think that they were not able to challenge for the league trophy?
I think that if anybody followed Napoli prior to the start of the season, what Napoli is doing will not surprise you. When last season ended, Aurelio De Laurentiis said something which is very pivotal to what we are seeing this season. He made a statement that he's going to rebuild Napoli from the scratch. It was the reason why he didn't mind letting go of Koulibaly. He didn't mind letting go of a lot of these, senior players. He wanted to build from the ground up. And he did a solid recruitment, bringing in the Korean guy, going all the way to Georgia to, fish out, Kavica Kravatskaya. He's brought in a lot of players, try to blend them with, a little bit of experience. If you look at the Napoli squad, it's a blend of young talents, fresh faces, and experience. The former Tottenham guy, Ndombele,
he's not even been a feature, a regular feature in the Napoli squad.
There is Nguisa, the Cameroonian.
Yes.
Names that are not...
Who had a previous stint with Fulham.
Names that... It tells you the work they've done in terms of the recruitment side.
Does he also not tell about the quality in the Serie A?
No, I do not think that it speaks to the drop in quality of the Serie A. It's about being able to identify talent and quality. I always say that it's so easy for you to say a player goes to League A and fails to perform, and goes to League B and begins to perform. So okay, it speaks about the quality of this league compared to that league. What would you say about a player, the guy who failed to shine at Arsenal and is delivering right now for Bayern Munich? The French guy, Serge Gnabry. He didn't make the cut at Arsenal.
I think they can make a case for Serge Gnabry because he was a kid, and there's a general assertion that when it comes to football, kids lack a bit of consistency.
It's not so much of you being a kid. I think that players have gone through a lot of transition. You need to identify the talent of the player and how best to use him. If you look at this Napoli side, one thing Spalletti has done so well is being able to harness the quality of every single individual player he has in his team. Look at a player like Mario Rui. He's that one player that, yes, the potential is there, but over the years, many coaches or the various managers that he's played under have not been able to maximize his quality. But look at him under Luciano Spalletti. Brilliant player. He's one of, if I'm to give you three players in this Napoli side, apart from Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia, Mario Rui is one of those players that burst onto the scene this season and has delivered for them.
The captain.
Exactly, the captain, as well as Nguisa. I always say that if Nguisa had played in that quarterfinal against AC Milan, the first leg, as well as Osimhen, they would probably be in the semi-final as we speak. So it's about building a project, and he said it in their victory parade this afternoon after beating Fiorentina. He says that they are not ending here, and what they are working towards is that they will build with quality players. They're not looking at buying big name players. Now they're looking at, okay, now we've realized that we can work with quality young talent and we can actually improve upon. For me, I'm excited with what is happening in the Italian Serie A. The reason why Juventus could not match up to what Napoli is doing is that Napoli have a proper team managed by somebody who is a good tactician. That Juventus have a collection of stars. Some of them are aging. They are trying to build. If you look at this Napoli team, as much as it looks like they're a fresh team, they're a real good team. They understand each other. They play to whatever the coach is telling them or has taught them. I watch them against Liverpool and you ask yourself, has this team been playing together for just about a year or two? It tells you how good they are.
But then again, I mean, I think that the conversation you are generating brings an interesting perspective. The perspective being that, can we see a model like this work in any of the top European leagues, i.e. the EPL, the Spanish La Liga? Because this is a fresh project. Oftentimes, I mean, a couple of times you've mounted defense for the Arsenal projects. A couple of times you've mounted
defense.
Always
defend them.
Exactly, you've mounted defense. But this is a Napoli project, which is in its first year of implementation, has been able to deliver a major trophy. Can this model be replicated somewhere in England? Hypothetically, can it be done in England? Hypothetically. And what does it speak about the strengths and the collective strengths once again of the other teams in the Serie A?
It will be very difficult for this model to be replicated amongst the big teams across Europe, maybe in Spain and in England. Kofi, these big teams want to achieve as quickly as possible. There's so much investment or money going around in football so much that most of these big clubs are not willing to wait. I do not think that when Aurelio De Laurentiis and Spalletti set out this project, they were probably thinking about annexing the Italian Serie A this season or making it all the way to the Champions League quarterfinals this season. I'm not going to say I know for a fact because I'm not in the boardroom, I'm not in the dressing room. I do not know, it's not out there in the general public that this is what we set out to do. But I think that for the first year of running your project, they will be too ambitious for you to say we are going out there to win the Italian Serie A, especially when you do not know what to expect from the Korean guy, what to expect from Kvaratskhelia, what to expect from Osimhen, what to expect from Ndombele, what to expect from Nguisa. These are all guys that have been put together for just one season. So you do not all of a sudden say we are going to win the league, especially when AC Milan have a squad that they've built for 3 years. Juventus have a squad that they've built for God knows how long. Inter have a squad that they've built for God knows how long. I'm sure they were looking at, okay, having a proper progression. But this model, Kofi, will be very difficult because City will not want to pick fresh talents from the mud and nurture them. You and I sitting here, we'll probably start criticizing. There's been 3-4 years. You're not winning the Champions League. You're wasting money. Real Madrid, likewise. These big clubs want to achieve as quickly as possible. So they do not have time to nurture talent.
Well, I think that I see a bit of the Napoli thing model run at Real Madrid. Yes, I mean, Real Madrid might not be the club probably that goes to get an Nguisa. But the truth of the matter is that Real Madrid don't want to get an Nguisa, but they are picking top quality talent from South America.
That's true.
Rodrigo, you look at Vinicius Jr., they are picking some of the best talent available.
They've secured the best Brazilian talent from Palmeiras.
Yes.
I'll get you his name.
Yes, I mean, the guy was almost on the verge of making the World Cup.
Yes, I'll get you his name. They've already secured him. But these players do not come for cheap. Rodrigo, put together. How the Brazilians and their agency fees and all of that.
I think this is all about relativism. I mean, because obviously you do not expect Real Madrid to go into the market and be spending £2 million. You understand? Obviously, this is Real Madrid.
They'll pay big.
They'll probably spend £30 million. They probably spend
maybe
£40 million.
Maybe Real Madrid is the odd one out. But I think that let's congratulate Napoli. They've done something
Any
great.
Lessons from the Napoli
before
project?
We move on to the EPL, probably. I think the lesson that you could give is that always look out for a manager who can coach. I think that, listen, no matter the quality, we had this conversation some time back. No matter the quality of players, look out for a manager that can actually coach. Listen, if you watch the Napoli team, you could clearly see that Spalletti has put in a lot of work, and they are playing to a certain pattern that you could see that is the body of work a coach has put in. You cannot assemble top quality players and just put any mediocre coach in there and expect that that team will deliver. I think that's one major lesson that most of these teams across Europe should start to emulate. Look, get whoever you bring in as a player, you need a top-notch manager, not necessarily, but somebody who can actually coach. Kofi, I think that is one lesson I picked from this Napoli project. But congratulations to them, 33 years in the waiting. The excitement will continue till probably next season start. And congratulations for me to Osimhen. He's the reason why they've annexed this title, Kofi.
Well, I think it's a collective team, and Liverpool 1, Brentford 0.
Are we coming to England?
Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Aston Villa 0, Tottenham Hotspurs 1, Crystal Palace 0, Man City 2, Leeds United 1, Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3. This sounds heavy on my mouth, but Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3.
Chelsea finally winning a game under Frank Lampard.
Amazing.
I mean, he needed that reprieve.
On the coronation of the king.
Exactly. He needed that reprieve. He needed that break.
He needed the king to be coronated.
I think that the pressure was becoming too much. And for me, kudos to the players. Listen.
Well, yesterday when I was listening to the coronation, they kept singing "My Country, Tears of Thee." I think that, it kept ringing in the ears of Frank Lampard that, Charlie, this is the time you need to stand up. But I want us to focus. And this afternoon, yes, Arsenal went to Newcastle and beat Newcastle by 2-0.
That, I think for me, is the biggest result of the week.
I don't think it's the biggest
result. It is the biggest result of the week.
I think that's an anticlimax.
Oh, it is the biggest result of the
week. Christmas just came by, and the people who love the fancy dress and people who love to dance anchors, you understand? So the guys danced on 24th, 25th, 26th, and some of them also did an outdooring on the 1st of January.
Yeah.
What Arsenal did this afternoon is akin to that guy who never showed up on 25th, 26th, and the 1st of January, but decided that he was going to go solo on the 3rd of January when everybody was off the street.
But Kofi,
I put this into perspective because I think that too little, too late.
But Kofi, we sat in this studio, and myself, you, and Percy.
We gave pitfalls.
The two of you were very emphatic. You stated the pitfalls Arsenal are likely to encounter in their quest to losing the league. And those who have been ardent followers of this show would attest to what I'm saying, that one of the teams, Kofi and Percy, actually said that there will be an Achilles heel to Arsenal losing the league is Newcastle. But this afternoon, Arsenal didn't break a sweat. Newcastle came at them in the first 15 minutes, but they weathered the storm. I think that it's a testament to the character of Arsenal. It speaks to the fact that Arsenal have not given up on the league chase yet. Listen, if you watch the Arsenal team this afternoon, it's reminiscent of seeing what City did to Liverpool in 2018, 2019. They did not crumble under pressure. If you've played a game at the St. James's Park, you will know that it is one of those places the crowd and the noise is unbearable. In the first 15 minutes, Newcastle hit the post. They had a penalty call disallowed. They were literally all over Arsenal. But Arsenal weathered the storm. Arsenal played to a certain pattern. And listen, one player that for me came to the party so well was Jorginho. He was brilliant today in the middle. I could see Partey's position in this Arsenal team. If Jorginho, it's too sad that the season is almost over. They have just about 3 games to go. The season is almost over. But if Jorginho starts next season like this, Partey's position in this team would be very, very shaky because today he was
you
brilliant.
attesting to the fact that Partey is one-dimensional?
It's not about Partey being one-dimensional. It's about Jorginho's. I tell you that there are very few metronomes in this world.
Stop playing with words.
No, we all know who a metronome is. Metronome, I mean, is an Italian word. Literally more like a register of a sort, more or less like a deep line playmaker. Partey is not a deep line playmaker. Partey is your typical defensive midfielder.
What are the strengths of Partey? What does he bring to the team?
What
does he bring to any
one,
team?
Partey is a very good passer of the ball. Partey is very strong and defends very well. What Jorginho gives you is Jorginho's ability to pick a pass from 60 yards. Jorginho's ability to control the space in the central area. That is what registers or deep line playmakers do best. He's able to control that central area. Bruno Guimaraes, who has been very brilliant for Newcastle all throughout this season, this afternoon was non-existent. He had to resort to committing fouls, all because of how good Jorginho was. For me, we need to give credit to Arsenal this afternoon, because personally I had my doubts they going all the way to the St. James's Park to win, but the ability to tone down the tempo and literally put salt in the wounds of Newcastle and put a break, because Newcastle, with this defeat, their top 4 ambition is a bit shaky looking at what Liverpool is doing. So kudos to Arsenal, kudos to Arteta.
Well,
you may discount what Arsenal have done, but I think that today they showed their character.
Well, my take on the Arsenal game before we discuss the top 4 and the ramifications thereof, if there should be, I think that Arsenal were absolutely superb this afternoon. They were superb.
Finally, he has admitted.
No, they were superb. For most parts of the season, Arsenal have been superb. But I have never said they have never been superb. But the truth is that they cannot win, and they will not win the league title. That's always been the bone of contention. But I think that they were absolutely superb. Like you talked about, I think that the big characters in Arsenal were the reason they won the game this afternoon. Odegaard, Martinelli, Gabriel at the back, Xhaka.
Xhaka was man of the match, Jorginho, in my opinion.
For me, I think that Xhaka should have been given man of the match, because the guy literally ran every blade of grass on the pitch.
You see that block literally for me changed the dynamics of the game from Willock.
Yes, I mean, so I think like kudos to us now, but I mean, we want to put a little perspective on the league table. A couple of weeks ago, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, it was almost a given that Liverpool were not going to make the Champions League. Well, before we go on, I still think that the top 4 dynamics, nothing will change. I still think that this all amounts to a bit of drama. But Liverpool have put together a run of games, 6 games where they have won games and then
5 games unbeaten.
Yes, unbeaten. And now if you look at the league log, as at tonight, Man City have played 34, have 82 points.
Yeah.
In all likelihood, Man City are going to win the league with 98 points.
Yeah, how many games to go?
4 games to go.
So 12 points plus...
94, sorry.
Yeah, 94.
94.
Yeah.
Arsenal have played 35 games with 81 points. Newcastle have played 34 games, same as United, who are playing and losing at this material time, with 65 points. And then Manchester United have played 34 games with 63 points. Liverpool have played 35 games with 62 points. So as we speak, United have played a game less than Liverpool. Newcastle have played a game less than Liverpool. Yeah. Newcastle have played a game less than Liverpool and are 3 points ahead of Liverpool. And in Newcastle's case, have a superior goal difference of a plus 32 to Liverpool's plus 25. Manchester United, on the other hand, have played a game less than Liverpool and are just a point ahead of Liverpool. Then have a less inferior goal difference. Do you think that Liverpool could steal their way into the top 4?
I think that United should be wary of their top 4 ambitions, because United's position in the top four for me is very, very, very shaky. Now, why do I say so? United have not been playing well lately, and for a while now, it's because a lot of people are not considering United as title contenders and are not considering Manchester. They are not really looking at Manchester United. But if you look at Manchester United, they have not been playing very well. Yes, they've been picking up some points here and there, but the United that we saw earlier on in the season, the United that we saw even in the middle belt of the season, where at some point we sat in this studio and even said that, whoa, United can even win the league if they continue on this trajectory.
Fatigue.
I do not think that you can say fatigue because listen,
if you look at the number of games United have played, 60 plus games.
But everybody, Manchester City has even played more games. Looking at
obviously with a bigger, more quality squad.
People talk about City's big squad, and I always wonder what they are looking at. Let me get you a bit of information here in relation to City's big squad. Now, all throughout the season, Manchester City actually lie bottom as the team that have used the least number of players. They've used just 22 players all throughout the season. Nottingham Forest lie first, having used 33 number of players. Manchester United lie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 having to use 26, different set of players. So you talk about City having a deep squad. It's not about having a deep squad. It's about the number of players that you've used. Even with their deep squad, they are the team to have used the least number of players among the entire team.
Well, I think
so it's not so much about having a deep squad. I think it's about having to manage the squad. Because one thing Pep Guardiola has done so well, and for me, one thing a lot of people are losing sight of. I look at this City team. I don't know if you've realized, almost most of the players can play at least 2 or 3 positions. So if Ake is gone, they wouldn't mind putting somebody like Kyle Walker there. If Kyle Walker is not there, they wouldn't mind putting somebody like Ruben Diaz or even John Stones, who is not a right back. If Gundogan is not there, they wouldn't mind putting somebody who like Bernardo Silva in that position. The ability to have players that can slot, who are dynamic, is one thing that is going for them. And it's the reason why, though they have a deep squad, they've used the least number of players.
Exactly the point I wanted to raise, because you see, we are dealing with different dynamics here. We are speaking about Pep Guardiola, who has had 6-7 years to shape a squad the way he desires it to be. You understand? And you see, yes, City could have used 22 players, but there again, you need to go into the dynamics of those games.
Yeah.
The dynamics are pretty much simple. With the sort of quality City does have, we'll come to Manchester United shortly before we go to the other ensuing topics. See, City have the luxury of one of the best strikers in the world. So what they do invariably is that they can close shop after 50, 60 minutes. Yes, so they could use less number of players, but what they can potentially do and what they have potentially done is that after 60, 65 minutes, take off your best players. You give them a rest. But you look in Manchester United's case. United, I was just hearing tonight that in terms of big chances created in the league, there has not been a team that has created more big chances than Manchester United. But in conversion rate, they are 16th.
Who do you blame?
Quality.
No, I think that viewers, we sit here and we talk about City. They have the best striker in the world. Last season, they didn't have Erling Haaland, but they scored the highest number of goals. This season, they added Erling Haaland. Who went out there to buy Erling Haaland? It was the manager. It was probably the administrative team. United had a budget. They knew they had Marcus Rashford. They knew they had Martial, who they could not rely on. But they went out there. They needed a striker. They went out there to buy who? Weghorst.
I see.
No, I'm making a point. I'm making a point.
Context
City last season, Julian Alvarez.
In January.
I'm coming.
No. I mean, just to clear the mischief.
Yeah.
In January, United didn't have money to spend on a top class striker.
But United had the summer to go out there and buy players.
Obviously, they had the summer to go out there and buy players, but this was a new manager walking into a new project. What logical reasoning has to put it is that when you walk into a new project, you'd want to analyze firsthand the existing. You understand? So you didn't expect that Ten Hag was going to walk in and change things wholesomely.
But where
I think that if this conversation will be valid,
yeah,
this conversation will be valid after the summer.
Where I think Kofi is being a bit disingenuous to the issue, and maybe it's because of his bias for Manchester United, is Ten Hag was appointed months even before the season ended. Agreed? Months, about 3 months before the season ended. He had the luxury of studying this team. He actually had the luxury of speaking to Ralf Rangnick. He had, from hindsight, he knew this team a little bit. He had a note from Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick probably would have told him, this team would need a striker. This team would need player A, player B, player C. Nobody held Ten Hag's hand and forced the player on him. He had the luxury of going into the market and said, okay, I need a winger. Let me bring in Anthony. I need a left back. Let me bring in Malathia. I need this. Let me bring in this. Let me bring in this. I cite the City example again, and I say that let's give them the credit because their recruitment policies have been spot on. When I always say that when you have a visionary team, do you know Julian Alvarez, prior to City going out there to buy him, United actually scouted him. Barcelona scouted him when he was at River Plate. Real Madrid scouted him. But City, upon scouting him, I do not know what happened. These teams did not purchase him. City, upon scouting him, City actually paid already for him. They allowed him to play an extra season in Argentina before bringing him. How much did they pay for him? Just 50 million euros. So I think United should also, if United are fatigued, they should blame themselves because they had the luxury of expanding the pool of players they had, but they decided to work with these players. But truth be told, I think that Manchester United should be wary of the threat Liverpool pose. I do not think that Liverpool all of a sudden have waved the magic wand and they are, performing, some extraordinary, they are playing some extraordinary football. No, I saw Liverpool against, Fulham. I saw Liverpool against Tottenham Hotspurs. I've seen them in their last 5 games and they are always there for the taking, but they've been able to ride every single opportunity that have come their way, and they have a little bit of momentum that is pushing them. I look at the games Liverpool have, and it's good that they are not playing any of these top teams. We would have probably seen the cracks in this team. But for whatever team they are playing, listen, Liverpool look like they are a threat to Manchester United's top 4 because how many points, aside United having a game in hand, they are just a point ahead of Liverpool. The game in hand, there's no giving that Manchester United will win. So if trend analysis and the trajectory continues, Liverpool are likely to catch up to Manchester United, and then we say United might lose that top 4 position, and the only trophy they would have in hand is the Carabao Cup. And then we can pose the question, has United's season been a failure or a success? Because if you walk in and spend close to £300 million and you drop out of the top 4 and the only thing you have to show for is the Carabao Cup, I think United's season would have been a failure because there is no way anybody would tell me that if United drop out of the top 4, at least they have a trophy to show in the Carabao Cup, and that is a win for Manchester United. No, come on.
Well,
just as you think that if Arsenal do not win the league, they making the Champions League is not a win for them and their season have been a failure. I think that in comparison, if United are unable to make the top 4, it would have been a gargantuan and a colossal failure to Manchester United, and Ten Hag should be fired if he doesn't pick this Manchester United team to make the top 4. He has no business handling this team.
Well, that's fine.
Especially with the way the league has gone. Well, Liverpool have dropped. Teams are not performing so well because if Liverpool played close to what they played last season, United will not be in this position. Well, no way United will be in the top 4 if Liverpool were playing the way they played last season.
Well, I think at this point we cannot delve too much into semantics hypotheticals. But let me quickly run by you. United have 4 games remaining after tonight. They get to play Wolves Saturday 13th May.
Yeah.
Then they have the only away fixture out of the 4. So of the 4 fixtures remaining, United have 3 home games. That's why I think that they are definitely going to qualify for the Champions League. United have 3 home games, 2
Which teams will be United will play?
they play Wolves at home, they play Chelsea, they play Fulham, and they play Bournemouth away from home. I think that these are very much winnable games. I will look for Liverpool's fixtures.
Let
me get you Liverpool's fixtures. Liverpool, wow. Liverpool get to travel to Leicester Monday the 15th of May. Liverpool then play Aston Villa. And then they end the season with Southampton. They travel to Southampton.
Is Liverpool making the top 4?
Well, I don't think Liverpool will make the top 4. I mean, of the 3 fixtures left for Liverpool,
so Liverpool
they play
have
only
Leicester
a game
at home.
Only a game at home.
That's who are they playing at
Aston Villa.
That would be a tough game.
That's a tough game.
Aston Villa are hoping to make you.
So Liverpool travel to relegation threatened Leicester.
I think they will beat Leicester.
That will be a cracker.
They will beat Leicester.
That will be a cracker. And then they get to play against Aston Villa with Unai Emery. Then they get to play against Southampton on the Liverpool will not make the top
guys
4.
Let's throw out this question to our viewers and our listeners. If you are listening to us live on Tidy FM 99.1, and if you are watching us, we are live on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe. Click the subscription button. Engage us in the live chat and comment section. Do you think, looking at the games remaining for Liverpool, so they have 3 games remaining. They'll be playing Leicester City, they'll be playing Southampton, and they'll be playing Everton. With these games remaining, and Aston Villa, Leicester, Aston Villa, Southampton. These are Liverpool's remaining 3 games. Manchester United have Wolves to play. They have Chelsea to play. They have Bournemouth to play, and their final game, they have Fulham to play. Looking at these, let me even include Newcastle, because yes, Newcastle also are in the fold. So looking at these teams, who do you think will be making the top 4? Who do you think will be making the top 4? Let me get you the games for Newcastle. So Newcastle have Leeds away, Brighton at home, Leicester at home, and Chelsea away. These are in a way winnable games for Newcastle, because they've been good side. I think that Leeds battling for relegation. They are not really threatened. They are not really, in the drop zone per se. It will be a tough game. Brighton at home, tough game. Leicester at home. I think they will be Leicester. Away to Chelsea. That will be so. For me, I think amongst the 3 teams, Liverpool have the easiest run in. And viewers, this is the reason why I'm saying so. Liverpool have the easiest run in because Liverpool are 5th with 35 points. With 62 points. Now they'll be playing Leicester City away. They'll be playing Aston Villa at home, and they'll be playing Bournemouth away. Compared to that of Newcastle, who will be playing Leeds away. They'll be playing Chelsea away. They'll be playing Brighton at home, and they'll be playing Leicester at home. Newcastle have a difficult run in. Then Manchester United, who will be playing West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, Chelsea, and Fulham. Amongst the 3 teams vying for the top 4 position, because Arsenal and City have already secured their place. I think that Liverpool have the easiest run in. And if football and the EPL, as we know, with all its unexpectedness, I think Liverpool might make the top 4 at the expense of Manchester United.
That's a big joke.
I think that Liverpool will make the top 4 at the expense of Manchester United.
Well, I think that's a big joke. I mean,
guys,
I
want to hear from you. Is Liverpool making the top 4? Looking at what myself and Kofi has, give the list of games the teams have to play and the list that we've put out. Who do you think will be the final 4? Because we are just about 3 weeks to the end of the season, and it's getting hotter and hotter in the top 4 race. Who do you think will make the top 4? We need the last 2 Manchester United, Newcastle, Liverpool. Give us your last two because Arsenal, City have already secured their.
Let me give you the last two.
Yes, your last two.
My last word.
Yeah.
The top four is done. It's done. I mean, the league log as it stands now, it's all transpire at the end of May. I'm telling you.
So you don't think Liverpool?
No, they won't make the top four.
You still think it would be as it is?
I think that you can't be rubbish all season and expect a late season miracle. Liverpool have been pretty much rubbish all season.
They've been poor all season.
And I don't think Liverpool have the quality to be representing England in the Champions League. No.
But Newcastle does?
Yes, Newcastle does because they are the
please.
richest club on the land. Please. Potentially, if Newcastle qualifies for the Champions League, they are guaranteed a lot of quality purchases.
You know, Barcelona have actually received an offer for Rafinha, 80 million euros.
No, nobody is going to come for that kind of baggage. You understand?
Rafinha is better than
I think Rafinha is excess baggage. You understand? I mean, deal with the Rafinha baggage. Nobody is coming for baggage. You understand?
But if you sit here and say that Newcastle would be a better representation in Europe than Liverpool, I think that would be belittling the issue. Listen, the Champions League is not kids play. The Champions League is not for guys who want to come and play with lollipops. The Champions League is not. The Champions League is not for teams who want to come and say Coco Melon on the screens. The Champions League is for guys who are ready to chew bones. Listen, Liverpool have won in the last 5 seasons. One of the biggest teams that have been major, stays or cathedrals in the Champions League is Liverpool. They've made 2 finals. They've won 1. How many teams in Europe, take away Real Madrid, have been this dominant in the last 5 years? So you do not sit here and rubbish. Yes, they've had a very poor season. But listen, when Liverpool make the Champions League, there is something about them. One thing that I think people should be scared of is Liverpool make the Champions League, they'll be able to attract some of the best talent because, listen, they are on the cups of securing a McAllister. If they get McAllister, I think, they're on the cups of. They've actually agreed personal terms with him. They are yet to agree terms with. They've actually agreed personal terms. They are yet to agree personal terms with Brighton. But all other things being equal, if they secure McAllister, one of their midfield problems in terms of having somebody who knows how to create space is solved. The only thing left is they need a solid defensive midfielder. For Fabinho will not do. And you see, so for you to say Liverpool will not represent, Liverpool will not represent the Premier League when they make Newcastle, come on, Newcastle are Coco Melon kind of a team. Come on.
You make all of these arguments, yet think that City can usurp Real Madrid. I mean, based on your own analysis and logic.
We'll discuss that.
City are one of the biggest jokes in the Champions League, in the history of the Champions League.
In the last 5 years.
Forget about the
last 5 years.
I'm telling you,
they are one of the teams. They are one of the teams.
I don't know why you want to predate it to the last 5 years. I'm telling you that in the history of the Champions League, City are one of the biggest jokes. You cannot spend over £1 billion and be this much a joke in the Champions League. Look at the capitulation at the hands of Rodrigo. When Rodrigo closed his eyes and just headed the ball, you call this a serious team. Let me tell you something. It is not about past reputation.
So you think Liverpool
I think that everybody ought to qualify to the Champions League based on meritocracy. It's not about reputation. It's not about whatever. In short, I mean, really, all throughout the season, on the basis of what we have seen, on the basis of everything that has happened in the course of the season, I think that this season, Newcastle are a team that have been better coached than Liverpool. Eddie Howe is a better coach this season than Jurgen Klopp. And for me, I'll be excited to see a project like Newcastle in the Champions League because, one, let's not forget that Newcastle have different owners and they are going to spend a lot of money.
Again.
And if you can make claim for City, I can also make claim.
I'm not even saying Manchester City.
No, I'm actually
making a case for a Liverpool. Thinking that Liverpool will be a better representation in the Champions League. Probably we could put out a poll between Liverpool and Newcastle. Who will be a better representation for the EPL? We could put up a poll right now.
Let me ask you a simple question.
And hear from our listeners.
Yeah. How did Liverpool exit from the Champions League this season?
They were beaten.
By who?
They were beaten by
Real
Madrid.
In which manner?
They were in the round of 16.
At Anfield.
Yeah, at Anfield.
Went 2-0 up.
Yes.
Lost 5-2.
Yes.
Is this what you want in the Champions League?
You see, I would say
Are you joking?
I wouldn't if Liverpool lose to Real Madrid.
Liverpool were a walk of shame.
Kofi, this is my take. This is my take. If Liverpool lose to Real Madrid in the Champions League game, it's not a problem. If Liverpool lose to a team like Inter Milan, I will have an issue. If Liverpool lose to a team like AC Milan, I'll have an issue. If Liverpool lose to a team like Benfica, I will have an issue. Real Madrid, we've sat here time and time, not just us. I mean, Colossals in the game have said when it comes to the Champions League, Real Madrid is the SI unit. If Liverpool come up against this solid Real Madrid team and they lose home and away to Real Madrid and they bow out of the Champions League, yes, and they bow out of
Madrid team is solid.
It's a solid team, and they bow out of the Champions League in the round of 16. It is not a problem because even Liverpool's season have been a topsy-turvy season. Liverpool have not had a great season. So even for them to lose to Real Madrid, everybody expected it. Nobody, would bet against, Real Madrid not going through against Liverpool. So it's not news. So for you to use that as a premise to say that Liverpool do not deserve to be in the Champions next season, I think that is far-fetched because, listen, Liverpool over the years have shown that they are solid representations of the EPL. We speak about the Champions League and we talk about tradition. One of the most traditional clubs in the Champions League is Liverpool. What is the reputation of Newcastle in Europe? What reputation does Newcastle have in the Champions League? They have none, zilch.
Well,
so Newcastle is telling me that they are going to represent, or Kofi is telling me that the likes of Murphy, the likes of what's his name, that guy who has braided his hair, Walcott, or what's his name, Wallacott, or I didn't get the name right. Willock, the likes of Willock, Nick Pope would better represent the Champions League, like somebody Diaz.
What's Diaz done?
Salah.
What's Diaz done?
Kofi, let's not belittle the issue.
No, I think that
and you said something. Let me conclude. Yes, you have the final say. You have the final say. Let me conclude.
Speaking a lot.
You give me 60 seconds. Let me conclude.
I think that I need
Kofi
to
said
final
something. Kofi said something, and let me add this to it. You may have had a brilliant start to the season, but it's equally as good how you start and how you finish. You do not tell me that on the basis of how you started the season, you deserve to qualify for the Champions League or you deserve to win a trophy. You see, there are times when teams do not start well, but they finish well. Manchester City, over the years, have proven that it's not so much about how well they start, but when they pick up their momentum from December, trust me, they've won 10 league games without on the trot, without a single defeat. So would you say that City do not deserve because they are giving a late surge to the title? No, Liverpool are telling us that yes, starting is good, but also finishing well is also good. So for me, it's not so much about yes, they've had a poor start to the season, but they are telling us that we may have had a bad start to the season, but we are finishing well. So for me, United should be careful with the way Liverpool are coming. For me, my final two, I think Liverpool and Newcastle will make the top four. United will bow out the top four. We'll come and sit here and we'll discuss that. You can have the final say.
Well, quick one. I think that you said a lot. You said a lot, and I appreciate your perspectives. But to sit here and suggest that if Liverpool get McAllister, all of their problems are over.
Okay, you finish.
I think that is suicidal. Liverpool cannot be good representatives of the EPL in the Champions because...
So the United game has actually ended.
Yes, United have lost
a goal to 0.
Liverpool cannot be good representatives of the Champions League because Liverpool have a dysfunctional team. Their defense is all over the place. See, you probably underestimate the gravity of work that ought to be done to get this Liverpool team back to elite level.
They don't need a lot.
You cannot compete with Van Dijk at this material time. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson. Well, for me, I will leave the discourse at its now because there are a lot of things that we ought to talk about. But I will leave the discourse at it now. I'm pretty sure that our viewers and our listeners are very discerning. But I'll repeat.
Newcastle represent the EPL.
Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle,
United.
Manchester United. The seal is locked.
Okay, guys. Who do you think is making the top 4? Because for the top 2, I think that let them battle it again amongst themselves. We all expect City to probably win the league, but it's getting hotter and hotter between Manchester United, Liverpool, and Manchester City. The two teams, and Manchester United. Newcastle and United. Newcastle United were on a jolly ride, thinking that the top 4 is done until Liverpool started, picking up the heat and fire. Let me take some comments from our live chat session, and we'll move on to the next topic. So Carabao. So this is coming from Zongo Media. He says Carabao Cup and Europa is success. He's talking about Manchester United.
No, but why are we all forgetting the fact that Manchester United could potentially win the FA Cup? Yes. Unless you want to think, yes.
You could potentially win the FA Cup.
Yeah, the FA Cup, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the top 4 finish. Fantastic season.
Arsenal could potentially win the league.
Yes.
I'm making a sarcastic statement. Arsenal could potentially win the league, but they won't.
I can deal with the sarcasm. Unless you probably want to sit here and suggest that there's no way Manchester United can beat City in the FA Cup final.
Manchester United is not winning the FA Cup final. Manchester United is not winning the FA. We'll get to that. So Carabao Cup and Europa is success. So Harvest Time says that Kofi Ten Hag. I say if he doesn't make the top 4 this season, a whole dossier on that man. Mohammed Ibrahim says, good evening, Mr. Sedu. I need you personally for a talk. Okay, so Nana AJ gives us a wave. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. Liverpool will make the top 4. Newcastle will actually miss out based on their fixtures. So some believe that if you look at the fixtures Liverpool have and that of Newcastle have a tough running and they might just bow out of the top 4. But I think that one of the two teams, Manchester United, Liverpool, Newcastle, one of them will bow out. And I'm backing my hopes on Manchester United, and Liverpool will make the top 4. Lyric says that, let us Saints gather here and laugh at Manchester United. Kofi Asiedu has no shame, boldly blaming fatigue for United's poor form. I'm surprised he's blaming fatigue. Then what should City say? What should other teams say? Anyway, Kojo Bakon says that Kofi Ankasa there, he should have starred in a series. So maybe we can title the series Shameless, starring Kofi Asiedu.
But you know that Kojo Bakun guy is one of the few City supporters I know in town. You know when City fans hear us speak, they are hurt. They are hurt because they've spent billions, want a seat on the table of men, and it looks like the more they spend, the further they are away from that table of men.
The Premier League,
if City do not win the Champions League this season, this I can promise you, viewers, if City do not win the Champions League this season, the post-season episodes of Sports 101 is going to be fire.
So the Premier League has released, the teams that the spending of teams in the last from 2016. This is from the Premier League website, and I screenshotted it. You talk about spending. Do you know Manchester United has the highest spending since 2016?
I don't know.
When we say net spend, you put all your expended, the deductions, salary and everything. United has the highest net spend.
When did they publish
City
this?
are lying 10. So we sit here, United actually have the highest net spend.
No, I think
902 million.
Well,
902 million.
I think you're being disingenuous.
Anyway,
you know why?
Let me continue with the comments.
You cannot have cheap jabs and expect to run away.
Okay.
Because this has to be a fair discourse.
Yeah.
No manager in the history of the EPL has outspent Pep Guardiola. That's a fact.
I'm listening.
I don't know why you want to throw cheap jabs and run away.
I'm
no
not
manager in the history of the EPL has broken the £1 billion barrier.
True.
Probably Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp.
True, but you see,
so I don't know why you are trying to bring in this
one team
info.
we need to commend is Liverpool. We berate Liverpool over the years, but Liverpool are one of the very few teams in the top 10 list. Liverpool lie 10th in terms of their net expenditure in the EPL. So this is the list as of yesterday. United 902 million, Chelsea 830 million, Manchester City 667, Arsenal, West Ham, Tottenham. So why is nobody talking about Tottenham? The guys they spend, but nothing to show for it. Tottenham Hotspurs, how much did they buy Richarlison? £60 million. They are one of the teams that spend a lot, but they go under the radar, but they achieve very little. Anyway, I was taking the comments from our YouTube section. So Lyric says that, okay, I've read Lyric's comment. So I prefer Liverpool and Newcastle in the Champions League than Manchester United. They are not ready to play in the CL. So these are some of the comments that have come through. I'll continue picking up your comments, but you can join in the discussion. We are looking at the top 4 race. Who do you think is making the top 4? So I think we asked the question earlier. Between Newcastle and Liverpool, we are using what has transpired this season. Which team will be a better representation for the EPL in the Champions League? Kofi believes that if you look at the body of work Eddie Howe has done, Newcastle is the team to better represent the EPL. I am of the view that, listen, Newcastle, yes, may have been brilliant this season, but the reputation of Liverpool precedes them, and they will better represent the EPL. Who do you think will better represent the EPL next season in the Champions League? Let us know your thoughts. Liverpool or Newcastle? Kofi. So over the past week, a lot has been happening with Lionel Messi and PSG and Barcelona. Let me start from, let me give you a premise, and I'll throw this question and you try and help in our discussion. So when PSG lost to Lorient in the course of the week, 3-1, they had 2 days break. Lionel Messi is an ambassador for the Saudi, empire, because they actually want to bid for the World Cup in 2030. They actually want to take over from what Qatar has done, and believe that, come on, we are a much more richer state than Qatar. We can also do better. So they have actually appointed Lionel Messi to be an ambassador in their bid for the World Cup 2030. And so as an ambassador, he has ambassadorial duties. So over the last 3 months, they've been wanting him to come and do some of the things they expect him to do as an ambassador, but his workload for PSG has not been able to allow him. So after their loss against Lorient, they had 2 days off. He had communicated to the hierarchy of PSG that he was going to use those 2 days to go out there and conduct his ambassadorial duty. So right after the game, he set off, on a trip to Saudi Arabia. Then on his way, Gatier called for, a training session on Monday after their loss, because he felt that they shouldn't have lost and the players did not deserve any rest. So when Messi landed, he received a message from the hierarchy of PSG that you need to return to France for there is a training session. Then Messi said, I'd already asked permission. I didn't know this was going to happen. I cannot come because I had ambassadorial duties. So I think 24 hours later, he received notice that he's been suspended for 2 weeks with a deduction of 2 million euros. God, I wish my 2 week salary is even half of that amount of money. We already know that Messi is not signing a contract extension because earlier in the season he was given a contract extension, he declined. There's talk of he joining the Major League Soccer in the US, but there's also increasing talk of he joining Barcelona. That is where I want us to focus our discussion, and I just want to ask one question. The return of the post, because if you look at what Javier Tebas, in the course of the weekend, I listened to Javier Tebas and he was speaking about, and clearly it looks like they are trying to move some pieces around to possibly welcome Lionel Messi back. Would this be a good move for Barcelona? Simple. Let's look at the possible return of Messi. Guys, the possible return of Messi, do you think is a good move for Barcelona? It's simple and straightforward. Should Barca bring him back, and will he be a good addition to whatever project they are trying to build with Xavi? Kofi?
Well, I think the time that we have on Sports 101 is precious, and we ought not to waste a lot of time on teams who can simply not get out of the past. If this is true,
It's actually true. Let me get you.
no, hold on. If this is true, Barcelona are one of the most serious and shameful entities in sports. Why do I say so? See, all of the wahala Barcelona are having to go through, probably people do not know. All of the levers they got to activate, blah, 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 blah. They got through those problems because they had Lionel Messi on their books. This was a guy who was literally pointing a gun at the heads of the board of Barcelona. Every other 18 months, the guy wanted to renew his contract. Every other 18 months. Eventually, Barcelona had to pay a mercenary who was not delivering. And this was Lionel Messi. When he signed that new contract at Barcelona, I'll get you the figures. When he signed a new contract at Barcelona, the guy was taking almost 2 million euros a week. And Barcelona wants to do it.
I actually want to
bring him back. Did you watch PSG against no, in the Champions League against Bayern?
Against Bayern.
Why are Barcelona fixated on Lionel Messi? Lionel Messi is done. He's finished. When he consulted the witches to help him win the World Cup, that's when he was done. So I do not know why Barcelona, who want to run a serious project and with Xavi, I do not know why you would want to bring an unserious player, a player who is not committed, a player who is very irresponsible. And I'm very disappointed in you that you attempted to change the narrative.
Which narrative?
The guy ran away to Saudi Arabia to negotiate a contract with Al Hilal. The guy ran to Saudi Arabia. No, because if your narrative is true, and that PSG knew that he was going for ambassadorial, why did he issue that apology? Because do you know what he said in that apology? Because if that narrative, come on, hold on, let me finish. When I'm done, you can finish.
All right.
If that narrative is true, then it means that PSG already knew of his whereabouts. But this was the case, PSG did not know of his whereabouts. So he traveled uninformed. At the end of the day, listen, this is a guy who is at the dead end of his career. The guy cannot play in elite European football again. Lionel Messi cannot play in the Champions League. He's done. You know what? Goretzka ran him down in that midfield. Like a locomotive train. I think that if Barcelona are serious, I mean, why would you even entertain thoughts of having Lionel Messi? For what? If you want to build him a statue, build him a statue. But do not bring this level of indiscipline. Do not bring this guy who brings memories of shame. This was the guy who was captain when they went to all of those defeats that they had to go through. All of the lowest moments of Barcelona in the history of the Champions League. It all happened when this guy signed a new contract. So if you are serious about building a project, why would you build a project with a man of yesteryear? Lionel Messi is done. He's done. He cannot even compete in the French Ligue 1. The guy ran away to Saudi Arabia. Please allow the guy to run away to Saudi Arabia. Barcelona are a joke. And for me, it shows why Barcelona are not really running a clean project under Xavi.
At this question, would he help Barcelona with the return of Lionel Messi? Can he help Barcelona win any major trophy?
Which trophy?
Any major trophy. I'm talking about the Champions League.
Who is winning the La Liga this season?
Barcelona.
Why do they need?
Why do they need
La
Liga? Is not.
No, it's clear. It's clear. No, hold on. Yeah. It's clear. Yeah. Barcelona cannot win the Champions League with Messi. With Messi, no.
So you don't think
it's clear.
It'll happen?
It's clear.
Okay.
It's clear. Listen, in the last 2 editions that Barcelona have been to the Champions League, it's not been their standard. Indeed, in the last 2 editions, Barcelona have not been Champions League standard. In the last 2 editions they've partaken in the Champions League, they have dropped to the Europa stage because they have not been good enough for the Champions League. And I am saying that you are bringing a man who started being on the decline 6 years ago. And I can get you the figures. Lionel Messi in the Champions League in the last 6 years, it's been a downward spiral. So what projects are you trying to build? Okay. Well, I think that Barcelona are behaving like that boyfriend who simply cannot get over that ex-girlfriend. See, Lionel Messi is done. Barcelona are trying to build a new project. Move on. Move on. You do not bring such an irresponsible character into that dressing room.
You think Barcelona should move on from Lionel Messi?
What is there to keep? The guy brought you to your knees. Lionel Messi is the reason why, and this is a statement of fact. Lionel Messi is the reason why Barcelona went through the financial struggles they are going through. Why would you want to bring that object back to that club when it is clear that even the situation you find yourself in, you have not been able to sort it out? Then you want to bring in somebody who will come and, please, if you are listening to me, listen, Barcelona fans, please, forgive me, but Lionel Messi does not love your club. He's always played for the money. When he was at Barcelona, a guy signs a 5-year contract. Every 12 months, he will run to the board and threaten them that if you don't renew my contract, I am going to walk away. This is what he did. Time without number with his dad.
Was that shredded in fact?
Those are facts. That every 12 months he ran to the board to renew his contract. So make no mistake that Lionel Messi loves Barcelona. The guy played for the money. When he got all the money and Barcelona could not pay him again, he ran to PSG. Once he ran to PSG have shown that, and you see, he was the guy who was supposed to run to PSG and make them a force in the Champions League. They have become a mockery in the Champions League with Lionel Messi.
Do you think, 60 seconds, what next should what should be Lionel Messi's next move?
Run to Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo has shown the way. In fact, Ronaldo has shown the way.
He should go to
Al Hilal. Go to Al Hilal. That's where he ran to. Anyway. That's beautiful story that you tried to tell us. He ran to Al Hilal with his dad. Georgie. To negotiate a contract with Al Hilal.
Anyway, so Kofi has given his perspective on what he believes that what he thinks about this whole Lionel Messi saga and the return of Lionel Messi and its possible, impact on Barcelona. But I think that I think, listen, those who know me know my stance on Barcelona, know where I stand when it comes to Barcelona and Lionel Messi. For once, I think that I would want to agree with Kofi and share in some of the sentiments he's made. Sporting sense, football sense, the return of Lionel Messi will be a disaster. It will be a disastrous decision for Barcelona to bring Lionel Messi back. Why do I say so? as we speak, Barcelona are having to struggle with the issue of debt. They're having to struggle with having to keep a balanced wage bill in the La Liga. As we speak, they have not been able to register 3 of their top talent, Gavi, Pedri, and Balde. They are struggling to register them because they've already exceeded their wage limit. At the start of this season, Barcelona had to sell off their assets to other companies to ensure that there is enough revenue that has been generated internally, coupled with some sponsors, to be able to keep the club afloat and meet La Liga's, FFP rules. The bringing in of Lionel Messi would mean that you need to make a lot of sacrifices where you probably have to let go of certain players, sacrifices where you probably have to now renegotiate deals with certain players. So this is one of the reasons why I think that there will be too much for Barcelona to deal with to accommodate the presence of Lionel Messi. Secondly, this Barcelona team is not Champions League ready for the next 2 seasons. This Barcelona team cannot be competitive in the next 2 seasons in the Champions League. If you look at the materials at Barcelona would need to sign quality in almost every single area of the team, barring the midfield, because for me, all other things being equal, they have arguably, some of the deadliest trio midfield combination in Frankie de Jong, Pedri, and Gavi. These guys are the future of the Barcelona midfield. But if you look at the Barcelona defense, the only reliable defender they have is Araujo. Balde has been used consistently as a right back Koundé has been used consistently as a right back, though he is a center back. They do not have a reliable and dependable right back. They need to sign a right back. They need to sign a backup to Balde. Balde is just young. You need somebody who can give that competition to Balde. Jordi Alba will not do that. Then in the midfield, if Frankie de Jong is injured, if Pedri is injured, if Gavi is injured, who are you bringing in? Because you cannot count on Frankese. And as we speak, they are trying to sell Frankese. Sergio Busquets is so old and cannot carry this team next season. In attack, Ferran Torres, I do not think he's quality to lead this Barcelona team. Rafinha, he's not quality enough to carry them to the promised land in terms of winning the Champions League. We've seen consistently and time again Robert Lewandowski disappointing on the biggest of stage. He disappointed against Manchester United. He disappointed against Inter Milan. He disappointed against Bayern Munich. He disappointed against Real Madrid. So for how long are you going to entertain a player who does not come to the party on the grandest of stages? So they will also need a quality striker. And I'm hearing that they want to bring in Aubameyang. That would be a big mistake. What would Aubameyang come and add to the already plethora of I'm not going to say non-entity, but the already plethora of, very little quality attackers that Barcelona have. So Barca have a lot of work to do in terms of strengthening in almost every area of the team. When you bring in Lionel Messi, listen, Lionel Messi will not come cheap. He can decide that, okay, he would reduce his salary to close to 80%. There are a lot of additions you still need to make to accommodate the presence of Lionel Messi. That's the reason why Javier Tebas yesterday in an interview spoke about the fact that for the La Liga, their rules are simple. Meet the FFP rules. There is no way they are going to tweak the rules to accommodate anybody, no matter how big they are. And I like the stance that La Liga has taken, trying to sanitize the La Liga. Listen, sometimes you need a little bit of discipline. Real Madrid, Barcelona have had their way over the years, and it's affected the other clubs in the La Liga. Look at what Valencia is going through. Valencia as a club, as a big club in Spain, should not be going through what they are going through. They are battling relegation because of the financial issues. When was the last time you heard that Liverpool are battling relegation? The EPL has been able to create a system where the big clubs will always be the big clubs. But as for Barcelona, they are not doing that because there's always breach of FFP rules. So I agree strongly with what Kofi said. So for sporting reasons, Messi has no business even sniffing what is happening at the dressing room of Barcelona. The sentiment and the nostalgia and the fact that he's an icon and what he has done for the club, great. But likewise, the club has also done a lot for him because, like Kofi said, if you look at what Messi was earning at Barcelona, outrageous sum of money. It had been a symbiotic relationship for God knows how long. He's done his bit. They have to move on. They can decide to organize, after the season here, they can decide to organize a Messi 11, Barca 11, bring the likes of Eto'o, Ronaldinho, Henry, these guys, and honor the guy. But to say we are bringing him back for him to come and don Barca's jersey will affect Barcelona sporting wise. It will not give them the needed money to go out there and sign quality. It means that Barca will probably have to wait 2-3 more years before they become relevant in the La Liga. So for me, it's a no-no. The return of Lionel Messi is a no-no, Kofi.
Well,
should we take some comment from the Facebook section?
Well, quickly. Quickly. We'll just.
Oh, you have something to say about Lionel Messi?
Just a quick one before we go to the EPL releasing the team of the season.
Go
through some of the rudiments in that particular team of the season. Just a quick one. Who at Barcelona is even harboring those thoughts? You see, for a long time, I've always held that assertion at Barcelona, a club run by criminals. Because if that was not true, why would you even have thoughts about bringing Lionel Messi back?
Let me give you a quote by Juan Laporta. So Juan Laporta, clearly from his quote, is looking at the sentimental reasons, not for the footballing reasons.
So
he believes that,
according
to he believes that Lionel Messi's departure, Lionel Messi would not have departed if the previous board had done things right. So he wants to literally, correct the wrong. But in correcting the wrong, you would have created a bigger mess. Because, like I said, sporting-wise, it would affect the club and delay, or what is it called, pull the club 2-3 years back. Barca need to spend to be able to compete next season in the Champions League, because with this particular team, Kofi, they will go to the Champions League next season and they'll be bundled out after the first round or probably the second round, because this team is not quality enough. Look at what City is doing. Look at what Real Madrid is doing. Look at what this Bayern Munich team. Bringing Lionel Messi, sporting wise, it will be a disastrous of a decision to make, Kofi. Let's take some comments.
Yes.
But if you are listening to us, again, the show is getting so interesting. You are listening to us live on Tadi FM 99.1. And please subscribe to our channel. Click the subscription button if you have not subscribed. And for our guys in the diaspora, Kofi Mensah, Benjamin Hagen, give us some super stickers, Guys, give us some super stickers. Support us with some super stickers. We appreciate your support, and we very, very much appreciate you. Let me use just 60 seconds to take some few comments, and we'll move on to our next topic. So, Kofi, you are good in cheap. I'm not so good. I'm not a fan too. I'm surprised, Kofi. Asem what?
Asemba Nyabutre.
Asemba Nyabutre. I'm sure you're talking about the Messi issue. So, Live Before You Live says that Messi going back to Barcelona won't be for football reasons. That's very true. I mean, Kofi, really, now you are talking about witches. So, Albert Kujo Tano says that Manucho Magandi, I am still trusting United to win the league and the quadruple, please. That would happen. I'm surprised Kofi is ruling out the possibility of Manchester United missing out on the top four, considering the teams they would have to play before the league ends. And Marjorie Kofi's head allow him. Henry Kwanzaa says that I believe Manchester United will lose out on the top four if they continue with this abysmal performance compared to Liverpool's resurgent performance of 5 round of matches unbeaten. Benjamin Hagen says that, as always, awesomeness. Bring the super stickers.
Well, Benjamin Hagen.
Yeah, you should bring the super stickers. I want to know.
Can you?
So I get you the list, the squad.
I'm trying to get the squad.
Okay, let me get you the squad, and Kofi will take over. So, I mean, I think last week we put out the players that were listed. We gave our opinion on that. So there's Ramsdale. The goalkeeper is Ramsdale. They're actually playing a 3-4-3 formation. So there's Ramsdale, there's Trippier at right back, there's Saliba, there's Ruben Diaz, there's Zinchenko. Wow. Zinchenko, this guy who can't defend to save his life. There's Kevin De Bruyne, there's Casemiro, there's Odegaard, there's Salah, Haaland, and Rashford. So this is the team, the Premier League team of the season, Kofi.
Let me start with the forward line.
Okay.
What is Salah doing there?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Do you want a response or it's rhetorical?
And it's pretty much rhetorical. Okay. I think that they've been far better, consistent players than Salah has been this season.
Really?
I can speak of Saka. I think Saka deserved a spot in there, either of Saka or Martinelli. You see, I look at this list and it's skewed towards past reputation. Honestly, it is.
So aside Salah, I mean, I don't want you to say something. Aside Salah, who other is there and is based on past reputation?
Kevin De Bruyne.
Whoa, guys, Kofi believes that Kevin De Bruyne does not deserve to be in this list this season.
Yes, he doesn't.
So who does in place of Kevin De Bruyne?
Well, I think in his spot.
In his position. Because we are looking at position-wise. In his position, which player deserves to fill that position since Kofi believes Kevin De Bruyne does not deserve?
No, can you give me the list of the midfielders in that team?
So there is Kevin De Bruyne, Casemiro, and Odegaard. I told you they are playing a 3-4-3 formation, a 4-3-3 formation.
Yeah, no, so there are four midfielders.
No, a 4-3-3.
4-3-3.
Yeah, so Kevin De Bruyne, Casemiro, Odegaard. The forward line are Salah, Haaland, and Rashford.
No, but there are four midfielders.
No, it's actually a 4-3-3. So the goalkeeper is Ramsdale. Trippier plays at right back. Saliba and Ruben Diaz are the two centre backs. Zinchenko as a left back.
Well, I don't think that Kevin De Bruyne has been a better player than Bruno Fernandes in that position this season.
Ooh.
Yes, I don't think that Kevin De Bruyne has been a better player than Bruno Fernandes in that position.
Ooh.
And you can deal with I think that Kevin De Bruyne is there purely because of past reputation. Purely because of past reputation. And if you look at the figures, if you look at the statistics, you can make that case about Kevin De Bruyne being one of the... I even think that in that City midfield, I don't think that he's that one constant who is that determining factor. No. We've talked about the fact that City ran a very thin squad, and we've talked about the fact that City can run a lot of dynamics around players who are almost equal in quality, you understand? And I think that if you watch City carefully this season, I don't think that Kevin De Bruyne has been this influential in their run, because I remember a particular stretch where he was benched because he lacked form.
Every single player.
Can I please finish? Okay. I know you want to mount a defense, but don't make it all too glaring. I think that if you look at Kevin De Bruyne, the lack of consistent form that he's been through this season, he does not simply deserve to be in that team of the season, and he's there because of past reputation. Another player, Saliba.
So you have an issue with the forward liners in Salah being there.
I don't think Salah deserves to be there. I don't think Salah deserves to be there. I think that either of Saka or Martinelli should be ahead of Salah.
Why not Saka, Martinelli replacing Rashford?
Rashford has been the best player in the league post the World Cup.
What about
one of the best players in Europe post the World Cup? The figures are there.
So you looking at figures?
No. Yes, I'm looking at figures. It's a combination of everything. Okay. You understand? And if you look at not just the figures, you look at Player of the Month awards. You look at winning some of the top gongs. You understand? I don't think that anybody can make a case for Rashford not being there. Okay. Indeed, we've held this show, and I told you that he's going to be in the shout for who becomes PFA Player of the Year.
Okay, so
you understand? I do not think that Salah deserves to be there.
Okay.
I do not think that Kevin De Bruyne deserves to be there.
Okay.
And that other joke, Saliba.
You do not think that Saliba
No?
deserves to be there? So who should be there?
There have been better midfielders than defenders than.
So who should be there?
You cannot tell me that Saliba has been a better defender than Lisandro Martinez this season. Okay. No way. No way.
But Zinchenko is okay being there.
Another joke. Another absolute joke.
So in place of Saliba, you are looking at Lisandro Martinez.
Probably.
But you are comfortable with Kieran Trippier as
Kieran Trippier has been fantastic for Newcastle.
Ramsdale as the goalkeeper of the season.
Well, I would probably go with Ramsdale because of emotions. I don't think he's been the best goalkeeper.
So today you are you are analyzing based on emotions.
No, I'll go with Ramsdale because of the run that Arsenal have gone on. You understand? I think that he's been very big, he's been very instrumental, and I think that yes, he might not have all of the indexes going in his favor. Like people want to make the case about clean sheet and blah blah blah. David De Gea and Nick Pope ahead of him. But you cannot downplay the efforts of Ramsdale. I think that Ramsdale is one of the reasons Arsenal are in the position they find themselves.
So you think it's
well? I think Ramsdale has had a fantastic.
So your issue is guys. Kofi's issue is with Saliba, Zinchenko, Kevin De Bruyne, and Mohamed Salah. What do you think, or who do you think? You know that. Okay, let me run by you the list again. So there's Ramsdale from Arsenal, Kieran Trippier from Newcastle. There's William Saliba from Arsenal. There's Ruben Diaz from Manchester City. There's Zinchenko from Arsenal. Kevin De Bruyne again from Manchester City. Casemiro from Manchester United. Odegaard from Arsenal. Salah from Liverpool. Haaland from City. Then Rashford from Manchester United. Salah is the only Liverpool player to make it in the team.
Another player who is there because of reputation.
You've heard the team of the season. You've seen the team of the season. What do you make of the list? Do you think somebody should have been there, or a player should have been there?
But how do you explain somebody like Saka not being there and Salah being there?
So this is my take on the Premier League team of the season. I think that some of the players that, yes, we should all agree that this is just based on votes. I mean, the fans vote. So it's not necessarily, they do not base anything technical, want to look at the technicalities of it. So it's primarily based on vote. I think that Ramsdale is a perfect choice. I'm looking at across, the top 4 teams. And I think Ramsdale stands out. His saves have literally carried Arsenal. They've earned Arsenal tremendous points this season. Kieran Trippier, solid defender. One of the very few right backs who blends both attack and defense so well. If you look at some of the right backs in the league, they are very good going forward, very poor defending. They may be very good defending, but very poor going forward. But Kieran Trippier is one of those few right backs who is able to blend the two so well. He's been solid for Newcastle. He's a captain of Newcastle. He's been one of the reasons why Newcastle have been solid defensively and considered some of the least number of goals in the league. So I'm in support of that. I do not think that William Saliba deserves to be in the list. Come on, William Saliba. I think that players like Varane could make a shout before his injury. Lisandro Martinez could even make a shout. Akanji has even been a better player than Ruben Diaz this season. He's been very, very tremendous for Manchester City. So I agree with Kofi. I do not think that William Saliba deserves to be in this list. I'm wondering what in the name of the God I serve is Zinchenko doing there. This is a guy who cannot defend to save his life. This is a guy who, even his numbers, attacking-wise, has not...
Well, if you put Zinchenko in there, you must as well put Alexander Arnold in there.
I think that if there's somebody who has been overlooked, it should be Robertson. You see, Robertson for Liverpool has had a tremendous season, but because of the Liverpool squad having a bad season, literally almost every single player we know as good has been overshadowed by Liverpool's bad season. Because I'm looking across board, City do not necessarily play with an out-and-out, left back. So there's no Nathan Ake, sometimes, slotting as a centre back, sometimes even plays as a right back, left back. So I'm looking at United, Luke Shaw, inconsistent. He's been good as a centre back once in a while. At Arsenal, Zinchenko, no. So come on, why do you overlook Robertson? I think Robertson should be there in place of Zinchenko. If not Robertson, the the Newcastle left back, Dan. What's his name? Is it Dan? Ben. Yes, he's been solid. He's that huge tall figure. He's been brilliant. He deserves a shout for the left back position. Now, this is where I agree with Kofi. Kevin De Bruyne, he spoke about numbers. Everything goes in favor of him. Listen, Kofi, let me help you with Kevin De Bruyne's numbers. Insane. Assists, he tops it all with 16 assists. Chances created, he tops it all ahead of Bruno Fernandes. Everything a creative midfielder, he's ahead of everybody. So if you are looking for 16 assists. Saka has 11 in the league. This is from the Premier League. Don't come and tell me it's from my own numbers concocted. So you speak about numbers and you speak about stats, saying that everything a creative midfielder is in the league. Kevin De Bruyne is ahead of everybody. So why would you? Guys, so Kofi says that Kevin De Bruyne is there because of reputation. Yet he talks about Rashford being there because of his numbers. Yet Kevin De Bruyne's numbers supersedes Bruno Fernandes's numbers. He's created more chances than Bruno Fernandes. Let me make it. His stats. He's had more assists than he tops the assist table. So
let me make this comment. At City this season, Kevin De Bruyne is not their best.
Nobody is talking about Kevin De Bruyne being the best player.
Not the best midfielder at City currently.
See. The analysis has not been, or it's not about who is the best player for your team. No, but
if he's not the best midfielder for the team he plays, how dare he makes the squad?
My point here is, he may not be the best midfielder for a team he plays. He is the best midfielder in the league based on every single indices. So why would anybody Why would anybody in his house? Why would anybody? Then you can challenge the numbers Kevin De Bruyne is putting out there, because as we speak, assist table, Kevin De Bruyne number 1, 16 assists. Bukayo Saka, he lies second, 11 assists. Lisandro Trossard, for me, solid guy. All the 10 assists, he has 7 at just his few months with Arsenal.
But if you are making a figures list, if you are making a figures case for them, then Salah also deserves to be there.
That's why I'm coming. So for the top 5, there is Mikel Olise 9, Riyad Mahrez 9, Lisandro Trossard 10, Bukayo Saka 11, Kevin De Bruyne 16. For chances created, this is Kevin. Big chances. Let me be specific. We are not just talking about big chances created. Kevin De Bruyne has 31, ahead of the pack. So
Who is next?
Bruno Fernandes with 29. 29. So you are looking. So guys,
but you see, guys. You see. This is where I think that you do not get the whole picture, because if you look at the big chances created, Kevin De Bruyne makes 31 big chances created. Bruno Fernandes has 29. But in the case of Kevin De Bruyne, and if you check the big chances he's created and how many goals he's made, Erling Haaland scored. That is the difference. You understand? Because at City, he has a prolific goal scorer. Or he has prolific goal scorers who make sure that the big chances he creates are deemed goals eventually. But that is not the case with Manchester United. If Manchester United ends up having Bruno Fernandes creating 29 chances, and if you look at the number of goals Manchester United have scored in the league, 40 plus goals. You understand? That's the differential. So you cannot use the conversion rate of a player and the team he plays in. So in that case, Kevin De Bruyne. Hold on. Let me finish. In that case, Kevin De Bruyne and City, because he has very, 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 very good clinical finishes ahead of him. So that cannot be a disadvantage to Bruno Fernandes.
So let's put the record out there. We are not talking about conversion rate. The league, what the list that is out
converted big chances are assists.
No. I'm coming.
That's
I'm
the
coming.
point.
I'm coming.
Converted big chances.
We're not talking about. I'm not talking about
big chances are assists.
I'm not talking
If the
about
guy creates
assist.
if the guy creates 31 big chances and 17 of them are finished,
No,
it's
Kofi,
17 assists.
Guys, I don't want this to be an argument.
16 or 17, whichever one it
let's
is.
educate. I don't want this to be an argument. First of all, for a pass to be an assist, the guy has to score.
What is a big chance?
I'm coming. For a pass to be an assist, it means the guy has to score. And even in assist, there are direct assists and there are indirect assists.
Don't go there.
Kofi, can I speak?
Don't go there.
But can I speak?
Don't go there.
Can I speak?
I'm listening.
Okay. We are not looking at key passes. Neither are we looking at big chances that have been converted. So the list that the Premier League has put out there, the fact that the player has created those big chances does not mean they have been goals.
Oh, lucky.
That is what is out there.
I am saying
that
Kevin De Bruyne has 31 big chances created.
See,
out of the 31, he's been able to get 16 of them converted.
Out of the 61,
the 31,
out of
he's
the 31,
able to get 16 of them converted, and those are direct assists.
But let's put this record out there. Let's put this record out there. You see, Kevin De Bruyne, not all his assists are out of big chances created. Some of them may not even be chances. Because the Premier League, that's true. An assist may not be a chance. If you take a corner and a player hits the ball, it's an assist. That is not a chance created.
How is that not a chance?
That is not a chance created.
It's a chance.
No. The Premier League watch how the Premier League. Do you know what chances? How the Premier League defines chances? So if let's say if there's a free kick, and I pick out Rashford, and Rashford hits the ball into the net, that is not a chance, a big chance created. No, big chances are the opportunities. So Kofi, let's get this right. When there's a free kick and I pass a free kick or I pick a player out and he hits the ball, that is not a big chance created.
A situation where a player should reasonably be expected to score, usually in a one-on-one scenario or from very close range, when the ball has a clear path to go and there's a low to moderate pressure on the shooter.
So clearly.
So I am saying.
So clearly, free kicks do not belong in big chances created.
Nobody talked about
corners
free kicks.
do not belong to big chances created.
Nobody talked about big chances and whatever. I am saying that because of the team Kevin De Bruyne plays in, the likelihood that he's supposed to get more assists and rack up those figures is high.
It's Rashford
because he plays in a team that is so prolific up front.
That is not necessarily true.
Let me tell you something.
Riyad Mahrez. Let's be truthful here. Riyad Mahrez and Rashford. Rashford is for me, in my eyes. Riyad Mahrez may be brilliant or not like that, but I would prefer Rashford in my team. In your own eyes, is Rashford and Riyad Mahrez, who is a better player?
Who is the top striker? Who is
a better finisher?
Who is the top striker at Manchester United?
For me, United necessarily
don't even
have a number 9.
Exactly.
But that's not the issue.
Exactly the point.
But there's an outlet for goals.
I am saying that if we switched roles, and Kevin De Bruyne was in this Manchester United team, and Bruno Fernandes was in this City team, we'll be singing the same story.
I will not. You see, these are hypothetical situations.
Oh, well, I mean, we move on.
These are hypothetical situations. For me, I think that the numbers, because you are looking at a creative midfielder, one that can create opportunities. And for me, if you look at Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne shakes Bruno Fernandes. He's miles ahead of Bruno Fernandes in terms of everything.
He's miles ahead because he plays for City.
Technically, Kevin De Bruyne is a better passer of the ball than Bruno Fernandes.
Wow,
long range, short range.
debatable.
There is no way anybody can tell me that Bruno Fernandes is a better passer of the ball than Kevin De Bruyne.
That's debatable.
I mean,
That's
for
debatable.
God knows how long.
Yeah.
Then
That's
my
purely
problem is
sentimental.
with you believing that Salah does not deserve to be in this list. Liverpool fans, do you know how many goals Salah has scored this season? Salah has crossed the 20-goal barrier this season. Even in one of his worst seasons. So on what grounds will somebody argue against Salah being in this list?
Stats pad generation.
What do you mean by important goals?
Stats pad generation.
What do you mean? Then
stats pad generation.
Then if somebody is saying somebody is a stat pad generation, then Rashford should not be there. Because Rashford is basically there not because of anything, but his goals he scored.
No.
So why would you make a case?
He's been a big performer in the league. Do you know how many Player of the Month awards Rashford has won?
Do you know how many Coaches of the Month Pep Guardiola has won? Yet at the end of the season, everybody knows that he's the best manager. I am asking.
He's not the best manager in the league this season. I mean, obviously, if I was voting, I would vote for Eddie Howe. That's another subject matter for another day. You understand? I do not think that this whole idea that he's crossed the whatever. Liverpool decided to buy Darwin Núñez. They decided to buy Gakpo. And they decided to be all rubbish. Forgive my language, but they decided to be dysfunctional, if that is more diplomatic. At the end of the day, if Salah finds himself in a team that is struggling to score goals and the burden of scoring goals has to be on him, why does he have to get the nod ahead of somebody like
Salah? Actually has
Saka?
Salah actually has 19 goals.
Who I think has been very consistent from day one up until this point.
Salah has not been consistent.
No? I can only remember when Salah picks team. Salah picks team in the last 7-8 matches.
Now, this is why I believe Salah deserves to be in there. The Premier League Player of the Season picks players based on positions. So we believe that I have issue with Casemiro being there because I think that Rodri is one of those players that has been underrated.
Rodri is not a better player than Casemiro.
That has been one of the most underrated defensive midfielders.
Saying you wax lyrical about Kevin De Bruyne and
defensive midfielders in the world. Fernandez. I strongly believe that. Listen,
there's no way you can compare Rodri and Casemiro.
Rodri deserves a case, but I mean, if Casemiro is there, fine. But I think that Rodri should be there. But if you look at the wingers now, Haaland is playing as a 9. Nobody can compete with that. Salah is playing as a 7. As 11, and Rashford is playing as a 7. Between Salah and Saka, I would want to have Saka in this team. Salah in this team.
Because
Salah, one. If Salah is coming up one-on-one against any defender, Salah is more skillful than Saka. Salah is more strong than Saka. This season, despite Liverpool's topsy-turvy season, this guy, we are saying that he picked steam barely a couple of months ago, has bagged in 19 goals this season. So on what grounds, if you are picking a season, on what grounds, if you are picking players at the end of the season, will you say that a player who arguably is playing for, if you take away City, Arsenal are arguably the second best team in the league. He has 10 goals playing as a left winger. And a player who arguably is playing for a team that is fifth in the league and is having 19 goals comparatively. And you see, look at that's why I'm saying that one of the reasons why we are overlooking a lot of the Liverpool players, especially Robertson and Salah, is because of everything Liverpool have done this season. I mean, they've been, a bit poor this season. So a lot of things have overshadowed some of the incredible performances that the players have put up. Kofi, before
how many goals did Ronaldo score before he left the league?
I on top of my head, I think
19.
Last season, yeah. I don't know.
Before he left,
I don't know.
Salah is not a good player. He cannot be a better player than Bukayo Saka.
Nobody.
You cannot tell me anywhere that Salah is just a goal scorer. Anytime I've seen Salah, he's just scoring goals. Nothing short of that.
Salah is just
because Ronaldo at 37, 38 was scoring 19 goals. What's so phenomenal about that? If you're talking about players who can run past players, have dexterity, have dribbling ability, you do not dare mention Salah's name. Especially ahead of Bukayo Saka. No way. Even Martinelli.
I think that we'll have to do
Even Martinelli. Because
dribbling, dexterity, Saka is ahead of Salah.
Yes.
We'll probably have to, because of time. Guys, we'll do this.
Like I said,
let me wrap up so I can take some few comments that we can check out of the studio.
Well, so, we did not even get the time to talk about basketball and all
we'll
of this other
things,
but I mean, we'll talk about it the next time. I mean.
All right, guys. So let me take these comments that we can check out of this. I think the Messi discussion, I agree with Kofi that he's done and dusted. He has nothing better extraordinary to offer Barcelona. Martinez is ordinary. Salah proved it. How so? You mentioned how Bruno Fernandes in this light. Kofi gets serious. So lots of comment coming in there. Some of them. Guys, thank you so much for sending in the comments. We appreciate every single effort. Today we came your way live with our Sunday edition of our Sports Roundup. We started off talking about the Italian Serie A, zoomed into the Premier League. We looked at Messi's situation at a possible return at Barcelona, and we concluded with the discussion on the Premier League player of the season. Kofi has stirred the Hornets. The bees horn and the hornets, and they are coming at me. Salah, a better dribbler, dexterity. We'll probably do this next week. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Those that stuck with us from day one and from the start of the show, we appreciate so much. We're live on Tardy FM 99.1. Catch us again next week, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Myself and Kofi, we held you down.